So story time about Wool Wars, which has been out like a few weeks, I think. I don't know, but basically, story time today is about how I got an infinite money glitch in Wool Wars and then got wiped of all of my money. Of course, all of this was non-cosmetic money because Wool Wars does not have cosmetic perks you can buy. In that, unlike Sky Wars, you can buy perks for your player. Here, you cannot. Let's just start off by actually going over what Wool Wars is. Wool Wars is a game very similar to the game in MCC or Minecraft Championship called Block Battle or something. I forget. It's a 4v4 PvP for right now. There might be more games added soon. In which you have to just break those blocks in the middle, a mixture of snow, wool, and the other block, which is called quartz, and you have to break those and you have to place them, and whoever either places on the hunt first or kills the other team and places at the majority, or just has the majority at the end of the time, whichever end up happening, whoever does that wins the round. And so this was originally a prototype game on Hypixel, and I've been playing it a decent amount. I was top 100 in most stats. I had been playing with a bunch of the leaderboard players in top 10, started getting to know people. And then they go ahead and release the game. It's been maybe 3 months since they initially put it in prototype, got an official release, got its own lobby. It's averaging a few hundred players an hour, or averaging a few hundred players currently. But when they released it, they decided to wipe all of the statistics. So if I had 100 wins, now I have 0. If I had 100 kills, now I have 0. If I had whatever stats I had prior, I no longer have. And so it didn't make that much of a difference. I mean, of course, also school started up around the same time for me for summer, which meant that I had less time to play. But I used this time, I started playing somewhat, and I played with some people, and one day I play with people. I do maybe 30 games or so in that session, and then right after that I get off for the day, as you do. I get off for the day and I go to sleep for the night. I wake up and early morning I don't really have anything going on, so I decide what, let me get on Wool Wars. Let me start grinding some games. So I start grinding those games, and before I can even get into that first game, I realize on the right, this is a bit odd. It's displaying in -7 layers, which if you didn't know, the way that cosmetics work in Wool Wars is you get layers from playing games, and these layers, you have to click a sheep in the main lobby, and those layers become wool, which is basically the coins of the game. And so there's it's 10 per, and so I start clicking this sheep because I'm like there's negative, it will go from -7 to -6 or -7 to never great, and it goes to -8, and then it gives me the layer. It doesn't subtract the layers I expect it to subtract layers. It does not subtract layers. And so at this point I'm like, I don't know how I did this, but it's just a few dozen thousand clicks, and then bam, I get it. I can do that. I can get myself every single cosmetic in the game. And so I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm going to get myself every single cosmetic in the game. So I click that sheep tens of thousands of times.
Montage time.
Ended up with just over 60,000 total clicks before this I went down. And so 35,000 clicks, which is 350,000 wool, went towards the actual stuff, and then the remainder was spent on just keeping, so I had over 200,000 extra just sitting around wool to work with, for once it get patched. So I log on, a day later. I believe I was at -60,000 layers still, but the sheep was no longer clickable. They had changed that. So I'm like, okay, -60,000, I can deal with this. I'll end up with the same amount of wool once I get those 60,000 games played that I would have gotten otherwise, but for now I have that advantage. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'll just play the game normally. A day or two later I come back on, I am at 0 layers, 0 wool, all of my stuff is wiped. Which you may think I cheated. No, I had at least a few hundred games played at this point. Like those were not, like, every single one of those layers was removed, but a lot of those I had gotten like legit. So I'm kind of annoyed at this point. I'm like, because at first I was like, okay, so they just wiped everything, But when I saw they removed the cosmetics, I'm like, this is freaking annoying, you know. I was like, and I'll go into how it was done in a minute, but I was like, you know, this is kind of annoying. I don't get why I have to deal with this. I had earned most of those myself. You know, yes, I cheated. If you wanted to figure out, you know, get rid of negatives, remove whatever my most recent purchases were, but you just completely got rid of everything. Like you didn't, like I reported it like I'm supposed to. You know, I'm a good Hypixel, and then they just wipe me like that. That's not nice. So, but like, there's nothing I can do at this point right now. I had, you know, I probably would have had, you know, like, what, at least a few thousand wool, like probably like 6,000. Now I'm at 1,500 because that's the amount of plays since, you know, they did that way. It's like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying. I did report it. I did everything I could, and like I didn't even intend to. However, when I found out a day or two later, which you know was from someone else discovered it, not me. The way it worked was after games you get that wool normally. You collect the wool, bring it down a few. If you disconnect right after and rejoin, no matter what lobby you went into, whatever, it would give you the original wool you were at. So, you know, what happened was probably I had 7 wool, you know, the day I was playing originally. I collected that 7. I disconnected, you know, for a bit. I came back on later that day. And lo and behold, I was back at 7. I collected that 7 again, and bam. Next time I log on, I'm at negatives. So, like, I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's just annoying because that was hours of my life I spent clicking that, which I have, you know, I have multiple hours of recordings of me just clicking, probably like 2 hours or so, of me just pressing left click, and like now all of that work is gone, and I was in a worse place than I started off with. And the fact that regardless, they didn't just reset you to, you know, what you would have been at regardless, they reset you completely, I just find was kind of just like unnecessary in that it was just overdoing it. I feel I deserved better. And yeah, that's how I broke Hypixel's newest game and got wiped. Not, you know, stat wiped. I still kept my wins, but just cosmetically wiped in a matter of about a week after it released. I've also heard that there were some people that weren't wiped, which I find dumb. And I'm honestly wondering if me reporting it was what contributed to me getting myself wiped. If so, I'm going to be kind of annoyed. I mean, yeah, it's not a big deal in the long run. Like, I'm not even top 100 in, you know, wins and stuff. It wouldn't have made that big a difference compared to them. But at the same time, it's kind of annoying. Like, I hadn't intended on, you know, doing that. And just because it happened doesn't mean I should be punished for, like, yes, I clicked it, but at the same time, I also, you know, like if they immediately patched it, I wouldn't have complained. So yeah, that's the story of how I had gotten an infinite coin glitch and wiped within the scope of about a week on Hypixel's newest game. So also, if you like World Wars, if you like Mentu, if you didn't know, or if you just want to see what else I'm gonna post or stuff, subscribe, bell stuff. Yes, bye.